Thanks to our sponsor Dundeal.ie, we bring you Business Bites. The best bits of that great business show, served up in individual servings.
Dundeal Motors is home to Ireland's largest range of new and premium used cars. That's why you'll find cars from Audi and BMW dealerships on Dundeal. Are you looking for a 7-seater to accommodate your growing family? Maybe you're after a luxury saloon to make a statement. We have the car for you. You'll also find Ireland's largest range of electric cars to help you make the switch. Visit Dundeal.ie today to start the search for your next car.
From episode 135, Ireland's dealmaker supreme, Jason Bradshaw of JPA Brenson Lawlor, tells us the business secrets of your local community pharmacist. Regular listeners know that we're always nosy about what other people's businesses are worth, how much they make, or whether there are unexplored business sectors where value can be had. If there's a chance to make a profit, in other words. That's why we introduce this slot about business values, featuring Ireland's top business mergers and acquisitions maestro, Jason Bradshaw of JPA Brenson Lawlor, last year's winner of Deal of the Year. Now, every town, small or large, has a community pharmacy. There are 2,000 odd of them across the country. But what you may not know is that, like many other sectors, they're facing a severe shortage of qualified staff. This shortage is driving up wages, which in turn is hitting profit margins and forcing some community pharmacists to sell up to the big chains that you see growing around you. Jason Bradshaw, welcome back to that great business show.
Thanks, Conal. Great to be back.
Are you going to make me cry about pharmacists? I was looking at their margins. Their margins are 15%. That's a net margin. That is a big fat margin.
Well, under pressure, Conal, probably 10 to 12% net. So yeah, it's okay, but it's under pressure like a lot of businesses in the country at the minute.
And talk to me about this shortage of staff, because I was not aware of that until we had a chat.
Well, there's a huge shortage of pharmacists around the country. And that's leading to pharmacies having to reduce their opening hours. Owners can't take holidays, they can't take a day off. Locum rates are literally through the roof. So for a lot of pharmacy owners out there, it's becoming increasingly difficult to keep the business ticking over on a day-to-day basis in terms of lifestyle and stress levels and family life. So it's a real issue at the minute.
And does it make any difference if you're one of the big chains? Because I presume they can't get their pharmacists either.
It's probably worse for the chains. So it's really, the basic 55% of all pharmacies in the country are roughly owned by single individuals and non-chain pharmacies. So if you're probably in the country and you own your local pharmacy personally, it's probably easier to get pharmacy cover or locum because you'll be in the community. You'll have got locums for the past few years. If you're a group with a group head office in Dublin, it might be harder to actually deploy a pharmacist down the country. So a group doesn't automatically help in terms of finding pharmacists.
And another thing that you told me, and I know that this was true, I'm not sure if it's still true about architects as well, and possibly doctors, they graduate. They're bright as buttons. They have to be because you need the points and all the rest. And they set up a business or they go into business and they have no business training. They are brilliant at pharmacy. They're brilliant at being doctors. They're brilliant at being architects, but not necessarily brilliant at being
no business
people.
Training.
But did you tell me that you train them?
Well, we help the pharmacy colleges, RCSI and UCC in terms of the pharmacy colleges, in terms of a business seminar every year and mentoring in terms of any of them that want to open their own pharmacy, acquire their own pharmacy. So it's very important that they understand how a pharmacy works financially and actually what a great business it is in terms of long-term career growth, progression and retirement, rather than going into industry. So I thought that's the other key factor that's affecting it, is because Ireland is so strong in the pharma sector. A lot of pharmacists that qualify want to go into industry.
So the Pfizers and all the rest of them are nicking the best.
Exactly.
Yeah?
So initially the terms and conditions might be better, but over the longer term, they're a lot better off in community pharmacy.
That's your pitch anyway.
That's my pitch. They need to own their own shop.
And what can they do to stay in business? Now, don't tell me, because you've already told me and told the listeners before about turn off the lights, switch down the heating, all of the obvious. But what can they really do to try to make the difference?
Well, for pharmacy, it's really a couple of key things, really. So it's to grow your turnover. And the most things you can do on that would be online. You need to be online, whether it's your own website and social media. Very important for driving footfall to the shop and online. So you need to be online now, selling your drugs and selling your wares, your OTC and your perfumes, etc., because it does really drive turnover to the shop. If you have a good social media campaign and maybe you will sponsor the local GA club or soccer club or rugby club, that all helps.
I was in my local pharmacy just yesterday. I'm going to make up a number, 80% seem to be washing up, hair washing stuff and skincare and all the rest. Is that where the real margin is?
No, the margin is in the bread and butter, really. It's
the drugs.
It's the prescriptions. So I thought turnover, it's to grow your turnover to online social media. Try to do more services in the pharmacy. Are you doing into COVID and the flu injections? That's really helped over the last couple of years. Blood pressure management, all that type of stuff. And we're trying, I suppose, they're working with HSE to be able to roll out additional services through the pharmacy to take the pressure off the local primary care centres and the local hospitals.
But it's not that's a cycle, because sometimes you're told to go to the doctor, sometimes you're told to go back to the hospital, and more recently, somewhere in the middle is go to your pharmacist.
Well, the pharmacy should be first, really.
It should be, really.
Anything minor.
They are sitting literally in the town.
Exactly, and they're highly qualified, intelligent people that have a huge amount of medical training. So that's where they should be going first. So I suppose that's to grow your turnover. Then the next thing you need to look at is your gross margin, okay? And really, to maximise your gross margin, the pharmacy owner needs to be maximising their penetration of generic drugs, generic purchasing.
Is there a higher margin on generic, is there?
There is. Because if you think about it,
I always thought it was the opposite, that you go in and say they'll try to sell you the brand name because there's a higher margin. But no, generic is good.
Generic is good. You'll get a higher margin, because if you're with Pfizer, like, because they have their patented drugs for 20 years, they're not reducing their margin. So you're kind of stuck with the price that Pfizer are selling whatever drugs at. But I suppose the generic manufacturer and supplier can come in then and offer, additional free stock to help with the margin. So really, buying drugs now as a pharmacy owner is like being on a stock market. The prices change every day. So you need to be looking on the drug price market every day to basically pinpoint what drugs you need to buy on that day, because the prices fluctuate throughout the day, every day.
Honestly, this is all new to me. This is brilliant. But is there not there has to be an app?
There is. Well, there's certain, a lot of the pharmacy, some of the pharmacy groups and the symbol groups would have their own IT systems to help with that without naming any. But there are programs in place.
But it sends out a beep to say, G6.
It'll highlight.
Do you like the way I put that in? Analog G6? Is that it's there at the right price then?
Yeah, well, kind of. It'll highlight, I suppose, the bargains of the day in terms of each of your main drugs that you buy based on your history of buying, because it's all online now. So you need to be in a buying group. Two main suppliers in the country, so it's kind of 50% market share each. But you have symbol groups who offer different, I suppose, incentives and margins for buying drugs through each of them. So turnover, gross margin is probably number 2. Number 3 is your wages and salaries. So since COVID, a lot of pharmacies around the country were actually able to reduce their opening hours without having an impact on their turnover or net margin. And actually, it might have helped some of the net margin, because if you review what sales you do from 7 to 8 at night versus 6 to 7, those 2 extra hours could be very, very minimal sales. But you have a high staff cost for those 2 hours. So as a pharmacy owner, you really need to review your rosters, your opening hours. Do you need to open on a Saturday, or can you close at a half-day Saturday? Can you close at 5 o'clock rather than 5:30 or 6 every night?
And you know the way that in a small town that a couple of pharmacies will open every second or third Saturday by agreement?
Yes.
Does that work?
That still works. Yeah,
okay.
It still works. Yeah. That works very well. In Greystones, that works perfectly. So they might be on a rota. So it could be a half day every Sunday or something like that. So that can work if the pharmacy owners work together.
So I've now found out that the real margin is in the own brand or the non-brand ones. Tell me some other little dirty secrets of the pharmacists.
Yeah, well, listen, there's no real dirty secret. It's a good business, but it's very hands-on. It's very hands-on now. So I suppose the pharmacists have had a huge cut from the FEMP reductions, which still haven't been reversed. So it's the only part of the healthcare system in Ireland that has not had their FEMP cuts reduced by government.
Now, to people who are not pharmacists, a FEMP cut could mean anything. Could mean a slice of beef or something.
Yes, a good point. No, they were the cuts introduced by the government in the last recession. Going back to 2007, 2008, 2009.
Oh, that far back?
Yes, and they haven't been reduced yet. So, reversed.
Yeah.
So, that needs to be done because there's a lot of pharmacy owners out there who are really struggling because the prescription prices are quite low.
Now, you're saying that they're struggling, but are they really struggling, or are you just being kind to them?
No, they are, yeah, because the staff costs are gone so high. The availability of pharmacists, the rent is going up, your energy costs are going up. So the whole operating costs of the shop have gone up. And they didn't get any support by the government during COVID. And it was pharmacy is the only part, or one of the only parts in the health system that actually work every day. You know, you can walk into a pharmacy in any town or city in Ireland, and the pharmacy will be open.
Yeah,
open to every day during COVID. So,
and if they do shut, and if the other big chains take over, prices are only going to go one way.
Well, prices will probably go up, yeah. And the other piece of advice is review your private prescription prices because they can vary.
Okay. So, if you are in a position where you have come to the end of your working life or whatever, you have to sell. What do they sell for? What's a good price for a pharmacist?
Pharmacies used to be valued on turnover before 07, 08, believe it or not. And overnight, the valuation model changed to maintainable profit, a multiple of maintainable profit. That multiple now is probably 4.5 to 5.5 plus net assets.
Okay, so a business doing a net, we're talking about net here.
Net
100,000.
Yes.
So times 500,000 plus the value of whatever building they're in.
The
or whatever.
balance sheet, basically. Yeah. Freehold would be on top of that again. So that would be on a leasehold basis.
Yeah. Big market for them? Is there a live market or?
Yeah, it's a buyer's market at the minute. There's a lot of pharmacies for sale for all the reasons that we've outlined. Pharmacy owners can't take holidays. They can't get locums. Very stressed. So it's a work-life balance. So yeah, we need to open up more training places in the Irish colleges to train more pharmacists. And I think that's what they're trying to do at the minute.
And you could say that about so many other businesses.
We need to start cloning people.
Yeah. Well, that's the problem.
Robots.
That's another day's work. So it's a business that'll never go out of fashion anyway, won't it?
Exactly. And it's needed in every community. A good pharmacist is needed in every community. So it's a great career to go into. And
what about, is an outside fund allowed to go in and start buying up pharmacies as a matter of interest? Would you know?
They can.
It's not regulated or anything.
They're regulated as such. You have to have a supervising pharmacist.
Yeah, that's fine.
Shop.
But
the owner
I could go in and set up a fund of 20 million and start buying up pharmacies.
You could. I
better talk to that fella. What's that fella in JPA Brenson Lawlor? Is that fella Jason Bradshaw? He knows all about pharmacies. Jason, as always, thank you so much for joining us on That Great Business Show.
Done Deal Motors is home to Ireland's largest range of new and premium used cars. That's why you'll find cars from Audi and BMW dealerships on Done Deal. Are you looking for a 7-seater to accommodate your growing family? Maybe you're after a luxury saloon to make a statement. We have the car for you. You'll also find Ireland's largest range of electric cars to help you make the switch. Visit donedeal.ie today to start the search for your next car.
De facto shaving oil, made only from natural oils. Nothing nasty on your skin.
This interview was first posted on episode 135 of That Great Business Show. Essential listening for anyone interested in other people's business. For more great business insights, listen back to our entire back catalogue of That Great Business Show.